What's happening, everybody? So the earlier video that I posted today, a lot of people had, comments about, this, that, and the other. But listen, when I talk about I want to see change, I really want to see change. But in wanting to see change, you have to start from within. You know, I read another article about in Georgia about the man that was killed. He was in an apartment complex. They said he had some mental issues. He was running around, butt naked, and he was shot and killed by the police, which is horrible. And everybody was saying how they could have used their tase gun, and saying this, that, and the other. And I understand that. So what I'm going to say, I'm not gonna, I don't want to get misconstrued and think that I don't care, because I do. It was wrong. But what I most care about is the family that came out and said that he had some mental issues. That's what I care about. I care about because obviously the family knew he had mental issues. And in our communities, so many times, we're not responsible for each other. If they knew he had mental issues, somebody should have been trying to help him or get him the proper help that he needs. Because if roles were reversed, just put yourself in this position. You're coming home. You got your kids, you're getting them out the car, and a man is running at you naked. What is your first reaction going to be? Right? Think about it. The man is running at you naked. Your first reaction is going to be to protect your own. Some people might say, I'm going to shoot him. You know what I'm saying? But it doesn't sound as bad because, we're protecting our own. And such, I'm saying, it's how you want to look at it like that. Or if I'm at home, somebody breaks into my house, I'm going to kill you because I'm protecting my own, right? I'm protecting my own. But in the same sense of that is that the steps before is what I am most, that's what we can help. This man had mental issues. And nobody was helping him. He had mental issues and he was just roaming the neighborhood. He was roaming the neighborhood. Now, the police killing him, horrible, horrible. But the steps before that, he should have been getting help. And that's our fault. A lot of things in our community, I think sometimes, and I'm trying to use politically correct, conversation, but sometimes we don't want to look at it in a certain way. Example, racially profiling. Now, there's some places that, it's higher crime than others. So I know that I fit, the profile of, what is deemed, a suspect looking person. I have tattoos, I'm black, I'm whatever. So when I go through those communities, right or wrong, I should be able to do whatever I want to do. But I know that me being targeted is greater. So I have to ensure that I'm always in the right. That means I got my insurance. That means that I got my license. That means all of that stuff. When you pull me over and I'm in the right, I can be, not arrogant, but I can be smart. But if you pull me over and I know my insurance is lapsed, I know I don't have no driver's license, then you pull me over and then I holler, why'd you stop me? Well, I know because I'm in that area, and so my thing is we have to do better as far as with us. You shouldn't be driving. You ain't got no license. You shouldn't be driving and you ain't got no license. You know that you owe child support and that if the man pulls you over, you going to jail. You know all of this. It's certain areas that, we ourselves don't go. We don't want to use the ATM. You know why? Because we don't want to get robbed. And that's within our own communities. You pull up to a store and you see a crowd of people, you're not going to that store. So what we must do is give those crowd of people something to do. And we need to stop focusing on the national level so much and focus on the level that you directly have impact on. Now, with the thing that happened in Ferguson hurt my heart. And it brought a light onto the bigger issue in Ferguson. Now those people in Ferguson, they're protesting as they should, and they should demand change. But us on social media, you know, we support Ferguson, this, that, and other. But what about your own community? Think about it. Think about if everyone who has something to say that's going on outside of their community cared as much as about their community. Think of the change. Now, I just told you earlier about back home, an 11-year-old girl pregnant, right? 11 years old. That only made the news because somebody was stabbed. Now, the numerous people that were killed last night, that's not going to get any national exposure. But the people in the community, they know. You know, the people in the community know the dude up the street that's killed 4 or 5 people. But he's not telling for the fear of snitching. You know, so when we talk about change, I'm just passionate about changing on your local level. Really think about that. If you wanted change, we want to organize and have these marches all around and this, that, and other, and I'm all for that. But if you're not directly impacting the people around you, then you're wrong. We can't wait on everybody else to do it. You have to start within yourself. And you know how you start within yourself? Your kids. This next generation is going to be the generation of change. You know, I'm 34 years old, and the change that I want to see, I might not be around to see it. But my kids will, because they will be the change. They will be the doctors and the lawyers that we have coming up. They will be them. If we don't put a ceiling on how far they can go. You know, my son, he knows about the world. You know, he watches the news. But I also tell him, you can do anything that you want to do. If you want to be changed, these police officers and these crooked police officers, this, that, and the other, then why don't you be a police officer to do better? Nobody talks about that. You know, nobody talks about making the change. Nobody talks about wanting to be a lawyer. Nobody wants to talk about putting yourself in position for change. And that starts with this next generation. And that's why it pained me so much of just hearing that 11-year-old girl is pregnant, because she's raising a child that's not doomed, but the odds are against him from the jump. From the jump. Now, I wrote a post the other day and said, you know, the pastor said statistically there hasn't been that much of an increase on the violence. It's just with social media, you know, it's more prevalent. So that's why we have to use our own social media to spread the word and promote change. You know, you got people posting these fights. We see it, we laugh, we, this, that, and the other. But you're not promoting the news that's happening in your local towns. You're not promoting, you know what I'm saying, this, that, and the other. Nobody's talking about the elections that's going on in their communities. Nobody's talking about that type of stuff. But when something major happens, we all jump up. We all talk about the injustice. That injustice happens every day. So if you're really interested in change, look around you. Look around you. Those guys that's on the corner, on the block, slanging, and you know them, why not just sit down and have a conversation with them? Because a lot of those guys, they don't think that they can do anything else. They don't think it. You know, those are the people that we need to be reaching to, and we need to be reaching for these kids. You're sitting up there letting your kids, you know, rap about, you know, they in love with cocoa. Baking soda. You know what I'm saying? They talk about all of that type of stuff, but they don't understand what they're saying. You won't change? Let's start from within.